Hey, HR friends, welcome back. We made it to day 5. We're in the 3-5 emotional 6.5 day sequence. And as always, we start every forecast talking about these polarity moments. Why? Well, it's super important to understand what it is we're in here. We're in a sentient space-time reality. And what that means is sentient means that we're beings that are able to process emotions and work through those emotions. Now, the reason we show you these polarity moments is because of the design of our physical body. Our body is designed to be defensive in nature. We have a fight or flight defensive system of control that guides and manipulates our thoughts and actions. And knowing when this unseen pattern is going to elevate, you see, we talk about a level 4. So whether it's a level 4 at first person perspective, whether it's a level 4 at third person perspective, or whether it's a level 4 at a combined perspective, what's happening is unseen agitations are starting to activate our defensive biochemistry, and there's nothing we can do to stop that from happening. Now, what we can do, though, to combat and make sure that we're not being manipulated by these moments and make sure that we're not running away from our problems or even worse, creating more problems for ourselves, we clearly show you when in this next 24-hour period it's going to be the hardest for you to stay calm. Not only do we talk about the 24-hour period, day 5 here is right here in this white rectangular box, we also give you the entire 6.5 day sequence so that we can kind of mentally prepare and know which days are going to be the toughest and which days are going to be a little easier. All right. So in this sequence, this has definitely been a little easier sequence. You can see that third person polarity moments have definitely been less elevated in this 6.5 days and in the previous 4 that we've talked about. Okay. Now, first person, on the other hand, that's been a little bit more elevated. Now, what's the difference between these two? First person agitations are the people that we see on a day to day basis. And when these are elevated, what's going to happen is you're going to become agitated with miscommunications, or you're going to be agitated with someone else's routine, and it's going to cause a conflict that you're going to want to talk about. And if you let these points manipulate you, those conversations are going to go into a negative or destructive pattern, meaning it's going to create more stress for you. Why do you want to limit the amount of stress you create in your relationships? This is why. Stress is what accelerates the aging process. It's also what creates future states of disease. You see, stress is cumulative. And the more stress you acquire over the course of your life, the higher the likelihood that you're going to have specific states of disease. And we'll help you understand that when we get down into the next section here and we talk about the overall objective. Now, today is kind of going to be a difficult day for us. This 24-hour period, you can see that at the end or during part of the last 24-hour period, we had an elevated gap here, okay? And an elevated gap happens when the stronger frequencies, so when the mental or the emotional frequencies are having a polarity moment. A polarity moment is when they're switching between a positive and a negative electromagnetic state or a negative to a positive electromagnetic state. And it's important to know when these happens because these flips really can start to agitate us, and these agitations hold for an extended duration of time, okay? So in the last 24-hour period, we had a mental frequency, just one. Now, there can be a dual polarity frequency. In this case, it was just one, and that's why you see it elevate just one high and hold that elevation. Now, as we progress into the 24-hour period we're talking about today, you can see that it drops off here, but as this drops off, that's where the flip's happening. And what's going to happen here is this is flipping in the opposite direction, and this is definitely going to agitate our mental rhythms. This is going to be when we become more likely to lose our cool. And because these polarity moments hold so long, this one's already been going for an extended period of time, and then it's going to continue through this 24-hour segment and into the next. Super important you know this. So people that have any mental instability or people that have emotional instability are really going to be affected by this exchange right here. Now, the good news is this, the extra polarity that could be happening. See, you can have lots of polarity stacked on top of itself. The good news is there's not a lot of extra here. So just really be vigilant and very cautious today because, again, this is the unseen pattern of chaos. And when this pattern raises and holds for an extended period of time, you're going to see that conflict increases and your ability to stay calm and cooperative is going to become more challenging. Now, when we look up here, we can see that in this 24-hour period, we definitely reached that 4 stage for pretty much the entire time. And in the middle of this, when these 2 peaks happen down here, it gets up to a level 6. So halfway through this sequence is going to be where it's the most difficult. Again, we're trying to give you the most value we can because understanding when these points are and understanding what it is we're supposed to be doing, we're supposed to stay calm. Why? Well, if we don't stay calm and if we don't stay cooperative, we can't achieve the sentient space-time objective that we're born into. You see, we're all born into this space-time reality as either sons or daughters, and you have to think of these perspectives. They're just the teammates, right? They're teammates learning about the team, and that helps you understand what fathers and mothers are. Fathers and mothers are the captains or the leaders of the team, and they're supposed to be helping to ensure that their entire team stays together. Okay. And to stay together, you have to communicate. You have to want to know about one another. You have to work with one another, and you want to try to eliminate your stress, but also help your teammates eliminate stress. Now, in this sentient space-time reality, the other thing that's super important to know is what the team focus is supposed to be. And this is kind of where the wheels have fallen off for us. See, we have a lot of leadership right now, and leaders can keep their team getting along, but sometimes these leaders aren't balancing their perspectives and they're not teaching their team how to balance theirs. What do I mean? Well, the team objective is supposed to be based on every member of the team equally investing in family, individual, world, and national routines or strategies that if they do these things every single day, what it does is it ensures that all members of the team are contributing to the overall objective. Now, most importantly, you got to understand that this space-time construct is literally just a bunch of families that are interconnected. We're all interconnected to the same team, but the problem is our families haven't understood that, and the leadership of our individual families haven't understood that. And what that's done is it's created individual families that have invested more in their own strategies for their future prosperity. And they've kind of invested in things that aren't going to make it easy for all the other families that we share and exist with to do the same thing. Now, that's what's really gotta change here going forward. We gotta keep our families together. We gotta continue to cooperate and work through our differences with our families, but the most important thing is we have to bring all families that exist to the same understanding. That's why it's so important to understand this sentient space-time construct. Once you understand the design of what it is we're in and why it's created for 2 reasons. One is it wants to see if we can use our conscious choice and our willpower to not react defensively. We're designed to react defensively. So that's step one. Step one is overcoming that defensive nature or our human nature. Now, to help you with this, we show you where these polarity moments are, but I promise you, that's not going to help you feel any different. See, what these polarity moments do is they use our feelings against us. They use our feelings to activate our defensive nature. And once you understand that your feelings are important, but your feelings are important to work through and to make sure that you're working through those feelings in a way where it's going to bring your perspective together with other members of the family or other members of the community, and that your feelings aren't going to stop you from achieving the objective. You see, you might feel that you have an importance in your life, that this is what you're here to do. And a lot of us get imbalanced. We have something that we really want to invest in and we overinvest in one area of our life and that makes us underinvest in other areas. So our feelings are really the challenge here. That's why we're sentient beings that can understand feeling, but we also have been given the ability to have conscious thought. We have the willpower to overcome those unbalanced feelings. And that's what needs to happen here going forward. So what we're trying to do, Health Reconnected is trying to find the leadership. We're trying to find the people that not only understand the importance of guiding and keeping their family together, but also having the ability to spread this message and share this message with other families. Because the more families that we can interconnect and the more families within our societies that we can get focused on equally contributing to these 4 levels, faster we can make our reality much more balanced again. Our unbalanced reality has to do with our unbalanced approaches at the family level. Now, here's the good news. For any individual, that decides that they now know how this works and they want to commit to getting along with their teams and all the other teams in the world, and they're willing to change their routine and sacrifice some of their individual and family desires in order to make sure that they're equally contributing at all levels, well, they'll be in perfect alignment with these governing frequencies. You see, these green, yellow, orange, and red colors help you understand the governing frequencies and how they're connected to the specific quadrants of the individual body. And if you're not balancing with your teammates at the first person perspective, or as an individual, if you're not equally investing in these third person perspectives that create an equal and prosperous future for all of us, then you're out of balance with these frequencies. You will experience destructive interference if your frequencies or your actions and your intentions don't match these governing frequencies. And what that will do is it will create destruction in these quadrants of your body. Now, destructive interference is what accelerates aging and it's what causes future states of disease. So, if you want to know where you're likely to have disease, well, it's pretty simple now. If you're not getting along with this first person perspective and you're not equally investing in this strategy, then your right lower quadrant's going to be affected. And that goes for all of these quadrants. So, in order to have the best balanced physical health at the individual level, you have to commit to the team and you have to commit to the team focus and you have to realize that all of our families are part of the team. And if we're not getting along with the other families in the world, which that's what's happening right now, then we've got a lot to do here to get some leadership that can help bring these teams together. That's what Health Reconnected is looking for, on top of showing all of the individuals that are part of these teams how this works. You see, space time math is proportional. And at the individual level, it's connected to our body, but at the collective level, it's connected to the events that we experience in the world and at the national level. This means that our weather and catastrophes and social unrest, all of that's connected to this as well. So when we get leadership and we get families that come together and we get that leadership to help organize so that we're making sure that all of our families within our communities are equally investing in this, we can drastically change everything, including minimizing all of the chaos that's starting to consume us from the climate aspect. All right. So that's a pretty good explanation about how this sentient space-time reality works. And the hardest part is going to be just accepting that that's what we're in here. Okay. Now that's what this next 24-hour period, this is what we've done to help you understand what this is and how valuable and important it is to pay attention to these patterns that we're showing you. So this is zoomed in day 5, and what we do here is we really highlight where these peaks happen in the electromagnetics, and I like to focus on the combined. Why? Well, because our stress is combined. If you have stress in your family, and then you see something on the news like the bigger picture that you invest in, your political party or some philosophical belief isn't going well, those two things come together and they accumulate to create even more stress in your life. So we're showing you specifically when it's likely you are going to feel third person agitation as well as when you're going to feel first person agitation. And we're helping you prepare for that. As always, we list all 24 time zone offsets for you. And to find that, you just come down here, you sort through these bottoms, you find your appropriate time zone offset. This will hold for 10 seconds. You'd snapshot this on your phone so you have it on you all day long. Now, this is for people that don't have good internet access all day long, people in rural areas. If you have great internet connection, go to our homepage, healthreconnected.com, and there's actually a live feed set to universal time. You don't have to select your time zone, and there is a time bar that progresses through this sequence. And super, super important. I use it every day. As soon as somebody gets agitated in my life, as soon as I feel a little agitated, I want to know where we are within this sequence because these unseen polarity moments are causing our defensive design to engage. And knowing when it's going to engage or knowing that it is already engaged is worth its weight in gold. This allows you to take a deep breath, take a step back, and understand that if you be defensive, if you run from your problems or you create more problems for yourselves, you just lost and you just lost. You accelerate aging and you create the accumulated stress that's going to lead to future states of disease. And this is hard on purpose. We are in a mathematical construct designed to see if we're capable of working through our feelings in a positive, constructive way versus what we're designed to do, which is to work through them in a destructive, negative way. Now, That's the most important thing we can share here with you, okay? Knowing when these moments are, that's step one. Step two then is then knowing how to understand and get along with our teammates and also making sure that we're investing equally in our routines. Now, that's what these alignments are all about, and that's what we're going to talk about next. In alignment is when two hands on the space-time clock align, and what that's letting you know is when a specific frequency is duplicating. When it duplicates, it amplifies. And when it amplifies, it's testing us in a specific part of relationship, either in first person, that's what these blue alignments are, or third person, that's what these purple alignments are. Now, the blue alignments have to do with how well you get along with your teammates, how well you can talk to your teammates about what their routines are, what your routines are, and how to get along and how to make sure that you're both working together to diversify your routines so that it's going to make sure that all the first person perspectives have an equal opportunity to have a future of peace and equality, a mutually beneficial future relationship. Now, if you see a purple alignment, what that has to do is it's testing you to see how balanced you are in your routine. Now, we highlight these alignments because if there's a time in the day that you're really going to notice that your body doesn't feel right, or that your experiences in your day start to go south or sideways and they become unpleasant, it's going to happen during these times, but only if you're not doing well with those teammates and only if you're not incorporating that specific third person view in your daily routine. If you are doing well with your first person teammate perspectives and you are equally balancing, well, then during these alignments, expect things to go well for you. Expect to feel more energy. Expect to feel better. Expect that you're going to hit every green light or that you're going to get that front row parking spot. That's how this works. It's an interactive biofeedback system. And if we're in alignment with the frequencies, good things happen. And if we're out of alignment with the frequencies, not so good things happen. All right, so let's quick talk about these alignments. The first one we're going to talk about is this MP. It's this guy right here. It's 6 hours long, and this is specifically testing the daughter relationship. So this would relate to females or teammates that are still becoming more acclimated to be the team and are trying to become or going to progress to become team leaders. That would be the mother perspective. How do you get along with them? How do you understand their routine? How do they understand your routine? Now, if you struggle in this relationship, highly likely that you're going to feel it in your left lower quadrant during this alignment. Now, this alignment's pretty strong. I would expect people will notice this one. All right, let's keep moving here. Let's do the other space alignment as well. That's this ME. This is going to be an hour and a half, and this is also going to test left and right lower quadrants. So now this is integrating how you get along with both males and females on the team, and these are our younger teammates, the ones that aren't quite at a leadership role yet, but they're starting to learn how. So the last alignment we're going to talk about is this time alignment. And this one's not very strong, and it's 2.5 hours long, so it's a little bit in duration. This too is going to affect left lower quadrant. So in today's testing sequence, especially in the last 12 hours, if you start to feel things going on in that left lower back, well, it's telling you the exact relationships that you would want to focus on in the first person perspectives and the exact relationships that you would want to develop as far as your routines go on a day-to-day basis to make sure you're being balanced in your contributions to the overall collective world. All right, so that's enough about the importance of these electromagnetics, as well as why it's so important to know when these alignments are happening. These alignments allow you to confirm that you exist within a sentient space-time reality, and there are consequences for your choices. All right, so let's move down here now, and we're going to quickly talk about the position of the strongest frequencies in this next 24-hour period. We have many frequencies that are going to test us this 24 hours, but these are the strongest, and this is where they're parked. And there's a mild imbalance here. We've got a little bit going more on the left than we do on the right. There's 6 on the left, and there are 4 on the right, and there are 6 on the bottom, and there are 4 on the top. So what this means is it's more likely we're going to feel things in that left lower quadrant today. And if we look at the testing sequence here, 4 is where we start to get concerned. When there are more than 4 frequencies in a quadrant, that's a pretty heavy load, and you can see left lower quadrant really gets up there today. Now, also, right upper quadrant starts pretty high in the first 12 hours and then drops off. Upper left quadrant, underneath the 4, pretty consistent the whole time, and right lower quadrant's probably the least out of all of them today, okay? We're really looking at left lower quadrant and right upper quadrant today. Those are the predictions where people are going to feel this the most. But because all of the alignments are really affecting the lower quadrants in the left side, that's going to be the dominant zone that people are going to most likely feel, especially if they're out of balance in those relationships and they're not balancing their routines. All right, so let's end this out here. As always, we talk about this electromagnetic guide, and what we've done for you is we posted the entire year of 2024. No more mystery. You know everything that's going to happen before it happens if you want to check this out. And this is how easy these charts are to read. The higher up they go, the higher our defensive mechanisms are going to be engaged. So I've talked about this day, August 6th. This is going to be the next time it's going to be extremely difficult for the entire world. We are going to notice tensions rise. We're going to notice weather events increase. And that's just dictated by this pattern. You see, we're being controlled and manipulated through this pattern. We just didn't realize it existed. That's what Health Reconnected's initial goal is to show you this unseen pattern of chaos. Because once you understand what's been happening to us and how this has been agitating us and how this has been pushing us in this negative direction, it starts to make sense why it seems like everything's getting tougher and the world is starting to fall apart here. It's actually designed that way, and it's designed that way to wake you up. We are trying to wake you up to what this is and get you motivated and get you focused so that we can start to make a difference. And the first way to do that is to empower you to know when these powerful moments are coming. Because if you're going to get together in big groups of people or with your family and friends, it's important to know when you or they are going to be agitated so that you can stomp that agitation out before it creates any more stress in your life. All right. That's a pretty good review of what's coming here for the next 24 hours, as well as a great overview of how this works and what this is all about and what we're trying to help you to do. We'll see you in the next post. Have a great day.